Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Token City on Negocios Televisión. Today, we have two very distinguished guests. We have Steven Dobesh. He is the former Technology and Innovation at U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff. Former Technology and Innovation Chief at U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff. Sorry about that. He is currently the founder and CEO of True Tickets, and he is joining us from the USA. Hi, Steven.
Hi, Javier. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. And Isidro Quintana, he is joining us from the Canary Islands. He is the founder and CEO of O Games, and he is also Oxford University's Blockchain Strategy Program member. Hi, Isidro. Oh, we can't hear you, Isidro.
Thank you for having me. Now?
Yeah, it's our pleasure. So, Steven, let's start with you. Why don't you tell our audience about your background? You have a military career linked to technology, and you now have an online tickets company.
Yeah, I kind of have an unconventional path to True Tickets and technology. So True Tickets is obviously the company I co-founded back in 2017. But before co-founding that company, I served for over 20 years in the United States Navy. I worked at the Pentagon on the Joint Staff, and there I was the Innovation and Technology Chief for the Logistics Directorate. In that role, I looked at ways to incorporate new and existing technologies directly into the Defense Department. And some of those technologies that we looked at included things like artificial intelligence, autonomous delivery, 3D printing or additive manufacturing, and eventually blockchain. But as I was working on 3D printing, which was my primary initiative, I realized that we weren't focused on the traceability and the provenance of the 3D print files that the DoD was sending back and forth. We had been experimenting with 3D printing, and those printers weren't really connected to any sensitive networks. So I thought, hey, let's try and marry this up with blockchain. And in doing so, we created the first authentic blockchain use case in the DoD. So that we can ensure all of those 3D print files that we were emailing and sending and sharing were actually authentic and hadn't been tampered with, whether that was maliciously or inadvertently. And what we did was we created a digital tokenized twin that represented the physical part that you could touch, you could play with, you could install, and then a digital counterpart that certain institutions would print at their facility for use as well. And at the end, it was a great use case because we brought together two different technologies in a very controlled sandbox that allowed us to experiment. Whereas if I had tried to introduce blockchain by itself, it probably would have been squashed quite quickly.
May I ask you, what year was this?
This was back in probably 2016, 17.
Okay. So looking back, because that must have been a very intense and experience-rich period of your life, what would you say as in your role would be the most challenging aspect in dealing with technology and trying to help the Joint Chiefs of Staff with that?
I think there were two challenges early on. The first one is, bureaucracies. Those don't exist to move very fast, and the DoD and the military, government in general, is a very large bureaucracy. They're very slow, they're process-oriented. They favor established technologies that they're comfortable with. So the only way that we could experiment with blockchain was because we married it to 3D printing. That had already been approved. It had been recognized as an accepted technology. But more importantly, those 3D printers operated on standalone computers. They weren't connected to any other DoD network. So we were able to bring in blockchain in this very controlled manner. And we got very creative in how we did it. So I encourage your audience that if you're stuck in a large organization and you're trying to get creative, I always say get creative in the ways that you can use the processes against those large organizations. The second thing is new technologies can be intimidating. We had to convince senior leaders in the DoD who aren't necessarily quick to act when it comes to new technology. We had to convince folks who controlled funding that our project served a legitimate purpose. And more importantly, that was harmless. Back in 2016 and 17, that was a lot easier said than done. blockchains still have this negative reputation, mainly from the after effects from the Silk Road, some of the nefarious crypto projects that were in the news cycle. So what I found myself doing, ironically, was quoting the statistic from the early days of the internet, when up to 40% of all internet traffic was pornography. And I used to say, imagine if we dismissed the internet 30 years ago, back in the 1990s, just because pornography found a use for it too. And I think that same thing holds true for blockchain. We don't want to dismiss blockchain because there's a nefarious actor out there doing things illegitimate. We don't want to dismiss blockchain because there's an FTX out there that's misappropriating funds. There is a legitimate use for this. And that analogy with pornography and the internet actually resonated quite well with senior leaders, and it was easy to understand. And I think, ironically, it's a good argument today when we talk about the effects of artificial intelligence, but that's probably left for another conversation.
Thank you. I completely agree with that. Fortunately, in terms of blockchain, there's now steps towards regulation and normalization, so to speak. So, Isidro, let's turn to you now. You are an accomplished entrepreneur. You are currently the founder and CEO of O Games, where Steven is a member of the board of directors. So, please tell us about your journey from design to entrepreneurship and then gaming asset tokenization. Oh, again, the sound, Isidro.
Sorry.
Okay, no problem.
That was a long story because I started pretty young as an entrepreneur. I always love to create things since I was a child. So I was starting in digital art pretty early. So I can say that I started to play with the first version of Photoshop and things like that, and also with the 3D software, and that become like a normal for me. I started to work in animation industry on the technical part because I love to see how things work and how I can apply that into digital world. So then I have recognized on the movie industry, on the animation industry. I get award, and then I jump into games in 2007, and I always envision technology. I always trying to see what's happening next. So when the iPhone came out, I see clearly that games will be on mobile devices. So I found a company, it's called Prominia Studios, that I sold in 2017, 18, sorry. And with that company, what I bring is high quality graphics into mobile devices. But at the time, 2008, we haven't that kind of quality games that we have now on mobile. So it kind of happened the same with blockchain. So it happens in 2012 when I discover Bitcoin, and I propose to Yael from Token City, what if we use Bitcoin in games? And then later on, I realized that there were a game, very famous one, is Diablo 3. Diablo was the first game to have an auction house to use fiat money, let's say legal currency, so you can exchange game items for legal money, let's say. It turns out that it disappeared pretty fast. In 3 months, they removed this auction house with real money, and we never see that again till just a couple of years ago with the blockchain technology. So I saw the opportunity a long time ago about how we can fix what Blizzard with Diablo 3 made, and how we can improve that in games. So for that reason, a long time ago, it was 2015, 14, 15, I started to see the use cases of blockchain technology on games. So that's the reason I found O Games. I studied as a teacher of Steven here on the Oxford blockchain program, and we started O Games from there.
Awesome. So regarding Oxford, it might be interesting to know How do you assess the interest of students in the application of blockchain technology, tokenization in particular? What do you see they want to build, they want to disintermediate?
Well, yeah, we have plenty kind of different kind of students from financial banking, games, many let's say industries. But the most important one is to remove, let's say, the idea that everyone is coming to blockchain because Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency fever, right, of earning money fast. So first of all, trying to remove that and only let them understand that they have a technology that have a lot of utility and how you can use that technology in their fields where they are applying right now. So you start to work in our strategy program. We used to teach in more a business manner, business kind of thing, like how you can apply this technology into business, right? So there's a lot of critical thinking related to business. So we teach blockchain as a feature to improve your business, not something that is something that you can just create a token to earn money, something like that. That is something that you can see every day.
Okay, yep, understood. So now, Steven, let's go back to you with your background. I am sure that you have accrued a complete toolbox to go into the private sector. So please tell us about your company, the company you founded, True Ticket.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of to reiterate what Isidro just said, one thing I enjoy about being involved in the Oxford course is, we're teaching students and business professionals that, blockchain is not the end solution. Blockchain is usually a vehicle that arrives at a solution that could be operational, technological, or, applicable in other means. And that's a really important distinction. And that was a distinction I learned when I was at the DoD working on some of these early blockchain use cases. And I also learned rather quickly that I enjoyed building things. I think I discovered my inner passion was to be an entrepreneur. But due to ethical concerns inside the government, I had to do something completely different. I had to do something unrelated to what I was doing for the government. So even though I was passionate about the 3D printing projects I was working on, I realized I needed to look somewhere else. My wife and I, we love music, we love concerts. We're always going to a new concert. My wife spends lots of money on concerts. And oftentimes we have to buy those tickets in the secondary market. And the secondary market is ripe with scalping. It's, ripe for high ticket prices. And those two things have always bothered me, how you can have a face value of, let's say $100, but yet you're paying $300 for that ticket. So I had this epiphany once that perhaps blockchain could solve that problem. And through collaborations with my other co-founders, we formed True Tickets in 2017. Initially, we were very naive entrepreneurs, big eyes, big solutions, and we formed the company as a B2C end-to-end blockchain ticketing platform. We're going to be an actual ticketing company. But after doing that for about maybe a year, and after we had released our mobile app in the Apple and Google Play stores, we realized that wasn't the right approach for us. Nobody wanted to buy another app. Nobody needed another ticketing company. So we pivoted away from that concept and, left behind the challenge of trying to get inventory of tickets to sell. And we transitioned to what we're doing today. And what we do today is we're a secure delivery of mobile tickets for our venue clients. True Tickets, we've delivered millions of tickets on a private blockchain protocol, more than any other company in the US, at least to my knowledge. And over the past 5 years, what we've discovered is we've virtually eliminated unauthorized brokers and scalpers from taking advantage of our clients and taking advantage of, the fans and the patrons that are, using our clients to go to a concert. We've done that through our secure, rules-driven delivery platform. And we've coupled that with a dynamic QR code. So we've solved the problem. And as an entrepreneur, it's extremely exciting to see what you've built come to life and actually serve a legitimate good purpose. But we're not done. We have a lot of cool things that we're going to be releasing in the next couple of weeks that further get after the problem of, high ticket prices and scalping. And, we're excited to release those, and we'll make those public probably within the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Awesome. We'll be looking forward to that. Now, Isidro, let's go back to you. Gaming is also high up there in the discussion of tokenization use cases. I'd love for you to explain how you apply tokenization, what advantages, benefits open up for you that were not possible before.
Yeah, I mean, games before blockchain, let's say it was like a box where all the money came in, and the box is for the game developer. Now the box is open, and it's like the real world. Let's say that all the virtual assets and all the virtual things inside the world, we can play into an open market, like a real life, right? So we can set up, thanks to the blockchain technology, let's say, economic policies that was never possible before. Things that people talk a lot in the NFT world would say, property rights, right? That would be like a feature that you can have with NFTs inside the blockchain that was not possible before. Now it's possible. Then the proof of scarcity, for example, of game items. So you ensure that if there's, I don't know, 100 swords, there's only 100, and there's nobody else with a 6 anymore on the game. Things like that will allow you to create more open economies and more incentives policies to create inside the game. There's many more. There's thousands of it, and we are with Triple Games. We have been spending like 4 years now playing with it. How we can improve this business model, because at the end of the day we are coming from free to play, most of it, and free to play came from premium model, that is basically you pay for the game and you play. Before that we have consoles, and we have arcades and things like that, right? So is the next evolution, it's sure that it's going to be with tokenization of games, for sure. It is true that technology is in the early stage, and we have a technology challenge on it, but the features are there, and there's a lot of people thinking about how we can create the next step in the incentives overall, so we can retain more users, we can make them have more fun in it, and things like that.
Okay. So yeah, taking into account what you just said, it's early stages, the value is there, the functionality is there. How do you see the industry applying this long term? I mean, I think it's not difficult to envision a moment in which blockchain is applied at scale, no? In the gaming industry.
Yeah, and in fact, gaming, I think it's like the point of the arrow in terms of applying new innovation is inside blockchain. It could be a lot of things at the protocol level in terms of consensus mechanisms and things like that you can apply and see if it works or not in gaming, and even country economic policy you can basically put it in the virtual world and see how the people react into it. So gaming had a lot of opportunity into it, and all the concept of metaverse, it's coming from the games. Basically, it's virtual worlds. They name it right now metaverse, but in fact it's virtual worlds where you have openness, and it comes from gaming and everything. I mean, gaming is going to disrupt the next innovation inside the blockchain, and it will occur there because gaming, it's a sector, it doesn't stop to grow, it's always growing. So yeah, technology is being tested there, and in fact there's many projects right now who are forcing, for example, problems that we have with the scalability, because people want to trade NFT easily, fast, and things like that. And it is expensive to trade NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain, for example. So those are the things that some guys out there like us are building up to solve these kind of problems, to make it more fast, reliable, cheaper, things like that. So I consider, I think Steven and me, we talk about this, like, we are fortunate to be in this moment and be here building up the future, right? It's like exciting to be in this field.
Awesome. Steve, now back to you. I was going to ask you about scalping, but you just mentioned it. For our Spanish-speaking audience, scalping is exactly what you just, it's not a term that we usually use, but it means that. It means buying a lot of tickets, for example, for a Shakira concert, so that you eventually, the end user, the fan, cannot actually buy at face value, like you said, the first price. They have to buy from someone who demands a very much higher price. So I was going to ask you about that. I don't know if you maybe want to tell us a little bit more how you're solving that, or if you want to tell us about how you see the industry evolving.
Well, they kind of go hand in hand, actually. And the reason why they go hand in hand is, if you think back about 20 years ago, the reason why we have scalping was the advent of the internet made it really easy to advertise for tickets online. You had the advent of StubHub and other secondary marketplaces that really came into fruition. Fast forward a few years, our physical tickets that are made out of cardstock transitioned into what we refer to as printed home PDF tickets. But printed home PDF tickets could easily be copied on a copy machine. They could be altered. They could be changed. And over the past 5 years, there's been this transition into digital tickets and digital experiences. And that transition was accelerated by COVID. We talked to many clients before COVID, trying to get them to sign up for our service. And, many venues were hesitant to go digital because they didn't think that their fan base was ready for it. You get to the other side of COVID, and now almost every single venue that we operate with is nearly 100% digital tickets, with a few exceptions. But those digital tickets, they come with risks. They can be easily duplicated or altered, just like the PDF tickets from 10 or 15 years ago. And as a great example, there's a venue here in San Diego. I bought tickets to go see a show. It was a non-true tickets venue, and I wanted to share my tickets with my brother who was coming to visit. So the app gave me the ability to essentially share that link, share the ticket link with anybody I wanted. So I sent my brother that link. In reality, behind the scenes, what that process is doing is it's just duplicating the ticket. So, being the founder of a ticketing company that prides itself on the secure delivery of tickets, I did a test, and I sent that same link to 9 other friends, and all 9 friends, and including my brother, all got the exact same link. No difference, no change whatsoever. So imagine that you have a shady scalper or somebody trying to take advantage of the situation, and they take that link and they sell it 10 different times. And at the end of the day, whoever gets to the venue first wins. And that's what's been going on with digital tickets for quite a few years. What our service does is we wrap the ticket in a dynamic QR code that changes every set period of time, whether that's every 15 seconds or 30 seconds or 60 seconds. It depends on the show. So you can't screenshot that ticket and then send it around. The other thing that we do that's different is all of our venue clients have a suite of rules that they can implement that's tied to that specific ticket that we deliver for them. And the venue can set specific rules, whether or not that ticket can be shared, how many times it can be shared, whether or not the owner needs to go, whether or not it can be resold. And all of these different rules, coupled with dynamic QR codes, essentially increase friction points for scalpers and brokers. If we compare a similar show that's at a true ticket venue client versus a similar show at a non-true ticket venue client, we easily see over 90% reduction in the secondary sales. And what that means is, if you have a reduction in those secondary sales, that means the actual true fan is able to get access to that event, to get access to that ticket, because scalpers and brokers aren't coming in and buying up hundreds or thousands of tickets with the intent of making a profit on that secondary market. So over the years, we've taken this discovery and solutions-oriented approach to help our clients solve the problems. And some of these problems that we've solved with technology, such as blockchain in the early years. Some of it we solve with other applications of technology, such as the dynamic QR code. But at the end of the day, the exciting thing about this industry is there's no shortage of more problems to solve. And as long as tickets remain digital, there's a lot of different ways that we can extract value for our clients and extract value for the patrons, whether that's offering a digital experience, such as an NFT, or whether it's tying the ticket to another experience. Really, the solutions are endless when you start thinking about what this problem looks like as a whole.
Maybe you can add something. Maybe you can tell partners and investors where to find your company.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you for that, Javier. I appreciate it. So I invite the audience to Google True Tickets. You will see a lot of press releases coming out about how we've integrated with our venue clients and what services we provide. You can find us at www.true-tickets.com. Be on the lookout for some exciting new releases that we think are going to significantly impact the ticketing industry for the better within the next couple of weeks. And lastly, thank you for having Isidro and I on your show today. It's been an exciting journey getting to know Isidro from when we first met in the Oxford course about 4 or 5 years ago to now watching his mobile game Battle Derby come to life. And thank you for having us on the show.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Now back to you, Isidro, same thing. Anything you would like to add? Where can people reach you or your company?
Yeah, as well as Steven, we are fundraising our second token pre-sale. And of course, you can see more about us in triplegames.com. You can look for social network as well, Twitter. You can see the game as well. It's Battle Derby. You can search for it. And it is a pleasure, completely pleasure to be with Steven here. As he said, we met a long time ago. I'm pretty happy to be here fighting and demonstrating that our vision it's right and we are in the edge of the next disrupting innovation, right? So it's a pleasure to.
Okay, thank you. I have to thank you also for having been on the show, and talk to you soon, gentlemen. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have reached the end of this interview with these two gentlemen, very accomplished, very interesting guests. We hope you have enjoyed, and thank you.